seconds and counting. Team.
How's it going, everybody? The Toronto Raptors are the next team on our slate tonight. We will play them tonight in Las Vegas. And the Toronto Raptors are a pretty interesting team in that obviously this is a team with the 4th overall pick, Scottie Barnes. And they also have a lot of other interesting players that could impact the game. But we'll start off with their headlining piece, Scottie Barnes. Again, we know a lot about the other 4 players in this top of this draft class. Obviously we know all about Jalen Green because he's on our team, but also Cade, Mobley, and Jalen Suggs just a lot more covered and a lot more analyzed by the media. Scottie Barnes is one of those guys who aren't really talked about as much, but he can impact the game just as much as the other 4 guys that went in the top 5. And he is a little bit more unique in the way that he impacts the game. Let's take a look at how Scottie Barnes can impact this game and what the Rockets need to look out for with Scottie Barnes.
Right. So like when you see Scottie Barnes' game, I personally can really see like a Draymond Green, like a point forward. He's able to kind of, score on all ends of the floor. He's able to, from, the paint, mid-range, 3-point shot. He has a decent court vision, knows how to run in transition very well, can move off ball decently, and has the size and athleticism to be a decent defender. So he's really he's a really good player. And, the Toronto Raptors are not like bad. They didn't make a mistake by like not taking Suggs, or by taking him over Suggs. But speaking for this game, I honestly, my ideal matchup would have been having Usman Garuba on him. However, it is unlikely that he will play. However, he should be joining the Summer League roster fairly soon. And yeah, if he does play, this would be the perfect matchup. Just 2 guys who play who have similar body types, athleticism. Garuba, of course, with the bigger wingspan and more of a defensive mindset, he would have been better. But since he probably isn't playing, I feel like the matchup that the Rockets would be with KJ Martin guarding him. Similar athleticism. KJ would have to do a lot of off ball defense and try to prevent Scottie Barnes from doing a lot of shot creation and for his teammates, because I feel like the Raptors only have 2 main shot creators in Malachi Flynn and Scottie Barnes himself.
With Scottie Barnes, he is, like you said, that like mini Draymond Green type of player where he can impact the game beyond the stat line and sort of like creating for his teammates. That's really Scottie Barnes' specialty. He can obviously score the basketball. He's a winning player, and it's a different type of challenge. We faced different challenges in each of these games. Obviously, in the first game with Mobley, you had sort of a more defensive beast. And that's what Mobley is, a rim protector, shot blocker, and also with a little bit of game on the offensive end. With Cade, he's just an all-around player. He does everything for you. There's not a thing that Cade can't do. And then now with Scottie Barnes, you're looking at a guy who is a sort of a point forward of sorts. He's more of a playmaker. He isn't really as much of a scorer as he is creating for his teammates, getting his teammates open looks, setting screens. That kind of stuff is what Scottie Barnes does. And it's going to be a completely different task. And again, the best matchup, assuming that Garuba doesn't play, is probably going to be a combination of probably around KJ Martin is probably the best answer to guard him, but you could also see situations where you're switching Sengun onto him as well and letting him guard him. It could really go either way. And sort of going into just transitioning with Sengun, Alperen Sengun has had to face just a whole swing. He had to go up against probably the best defensive player in the draft in Evan Mobley in the first game. And then in the second game, he had a bit of a easier night, probably going up against Luka Garza for the majority of the night that he was playing. And it showed with the less defensive mindset of Luka Garza. He had a significantly better game with 21 points, seemed a lot more fluid in his scoring and also in his playmaking as well. And in this game, you're probably going to see him being guarded by Precious Achiuwa, the player who the Raptors just acquired in the sign and trade for Kyle Lowry. Let's take a look at how Alperen Sengun would have to approach this matchup against Precious Achiuwa and what challenges that might bring.
Right. So with Precious Achiuwa, he is a little bit of an undersized traditional big man who's got a really well body frame, like upper body strength. He has good core strength, so it's gonna be hard for Sengun to like like post him up or like body him down. But this is exactly where I would want to see Alperen Sengun, bust out a bunch of his post moves, whether it be like spin moves, putting him in the spin cycle, fadeaways in the post, playmaking for others while drawing the center out of it, because Precious is a defensive minded center. His main job is just like stay around the paint area, block and contest shots there. So what I would also expect a lot of also with Sengun is a lot of spacing and bringing him out to 3 point line. I also feel like the Rockets would play a little bit of Matthew Hurt or Justin Anderson, two bigs who can kind of space the floor in order to get Precious out of the paint and make it easier for our guards and our wings, cut through, drive and transition, get easy buckets at the rim, because it's a lot harder with Precious there than with him not there. But I definitely see this as probably one of the harder matchups for Sengun in this thing, in this summer league. With I believe Precious is a better defender than Evan Mobley right now, and so this is gonna show what's gonna be better, Precious's defense or Sengun's offense, and hopefully it is Sengun's offense.
I think with Sengun, this one is going to be an interesting matchup. It's not quite the defensive beast that Mobley is, but it's going to be a little bit tricky because you can't underestimate Precious Achiuwa's defense either. Again, for those of you who are following Team USA this season, in one of their warm-up games, or one of their exhibition games, I guess you can say, Precious Achiuwa blocked Kevin Durant at the rim, and we know how hard it is to block Kevin Durant. There's probably like two people in the world. Probably Giannis is probably the only person that I can really think of that has the ability to block a Kevin Durant shot. And so Precious Achiuwa, the fact that he's able to do that kind of shows just how good he can be on the defensive end. And so with Precious, I think it's going to be a bit of a tricky matchup, especially at the rim, because he is a good shot blocker. And so that's something that Sengun is going to have to be careful of. And I think that's where he sort of brings out those post moves and fadeaways and all of that. And that's going to be interesting to see how he handles that matchup. Now, switch quickly, wrapping up with our star, in a way, Jalen Green. You're probably going to be seeing him being guarded by Malachi Flynn. And I think this is one of those matchups where you kind of expect him, especially considering how great he has performed in these first two games, because even going against really good defensive guards in Isaac Okoro in the first game and Cade Cunningham in the previous game, this is one of those games where you probably expect Jalen Green to go off because he's going to be guarded this game by Malachi Flynn.
Right, yes. And the two main guards for this Raptors team are Malachi Flynn and David Johnson. I do not know much about David Johnson, so I'm sorry if I'm getting this incorrect, but I don't believe he is like an elite level defender who's going to like be able to stop Jalen Green. And Malachi Flynn, I do know, is a little bit of an undersized, playmaking and scoring guard. So I feel like what the Rockets really have to do is constantly get switches, get like Malachi Flynn onto Jalen Green, onto Josh Christopher, onto like whoever the guard is who has the ball, and really try to abuse that matchup, doing a lot of pick and rolls, a lot of switching. I feel like with that, and also the Rockets, in order to win this game, we definitely need to have our 3 point shot down. Again, it's going to be hard to score in the paint with Scottie Barnes and Precious Achiuwa at the rim. But if the Rockets are having a good day with good shooting from the outside and the perimeter, it's going to be much easier. It's also going to incline those guys to come out to the 3 point line to guard our guys. So when they do that, we can easily take them off the dribble, get to the rim for easy transition buckets. Speaking of transition, also I feel like the Rockets really have to rely on guys like Josh Christopher to really run transition, because if you can beat Scottie Barnes and not Mobley and Precious in transition while they're running behind, there's no one else who's going to stop you at the rim. So I definitely want to see this as a fast pace, 7 seconds or less kind of offense. And if our shots are falling and we're able to run and play as a team, it should be another easy win for the Rockets.
Yeah, and this game is going to be one of those situations where the 3-point shooting is going to be the key. I think this is one of those games you're probably going to live and die by the 3-point line. Expect a more of an old school Rockets type of game in this one, because the Toronto Raptors interior defense is pretty good. And so you're going to be relying a lot more on that 3 ball. And so expect a more of a Rockets game that we're more used to over the past, I guess, from the 2013 to 2020 era, where you had a lot of inside out offense, a lot of 3 pointers, a lot of 5 out offenses. What you're gonna see is, even with Sengun, we saw he can stretch the floor, and so expect a lot of that offense because Scottie Barnes, Precious Achiuwa, they are going to get a lot of stops down low and inside the paint. So expect a lot more perimeter scoring in this game. It'll maybe more of an old school Rockets type of game. And again, it's going to be an interesting matchup. I believe that the game is going to be at 8 p.m. on NBA TV. And so that's where you can check the game out if you want to watch for yourself. And of course, we will have post game coverage on it when the game is all wrapped up. And as always, thanks for watching and let us know. Do you think we're going to win this game? What do you think are going to be the keys to win this game? Let us know down in the comment section. We'll talk about it there. And as always, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.